So, hi everyone, welcome back to the very first episode of Builder Talk. And today I'm sitting with my guest, Manas Kala. He's a co founder and CEO of Veritus.ai, an AI powered research tool that helps researchers and scientists to save multiple hours by automating their complex tasks. So, Manas, for our audience who are actually saw you very first time, could you please tell us a little bit about yourself, your journey to building this product?
Definitely, Ashish. First of all, thank you so much for inviting me. You and Jatin, I really appreciate that. And yeah, it's good to be here. So, my name is Manas. As introduced, I'm the co-founder and CEO of Veritus. What we do at Veritus is we make researchers, professors, research students, and researchers in industry vastly more productive. We build an AI system, a platform of research workflows, whether you're doing a literature review, hypothesis formulation, reviewing a manuscript before submission, or writing a research grant application. We search, synthesize, analyze, and deliver that analysis within your workflow in minutes rather than hours, days, or weeks. So that's what we do at Veritas for researchers.
That's great. So, whenever I analyzing your platform, one thing that I've noticed is that it is kind to be a B2B based SaaS tool that basically solve the enterprise level problem for universities and professors. So, my question is, how did you get that idea? Like, I've just told you the little bit about story behind it. So yesterday I was just visiting your website and I go to the about us section of your website. When I saw that how you get the idea of Vertus.ai, like in 2020, you just basically change your field of research, shift it to the new field, and after that, how you face problem to it. So it could be much better that if you could share that story to our audience in your own language, the story behind building this product.
Yeah, definitely, Ashish. So I'm a researcher. I have I started at IIT Hyderabad, and then the first startup that I tried to build was also around research. It was helping tier two students, tier two university students in India. I was also a tier two university student with research because we hardly get any guidance or help in these universities. So after IIT Hyderabad, I came to Japan to do PhD in LiDARs. And during that process, within the first 6 months, COVID happened. The pandemic led to an emergency. Everything was shut down. Labs were shut down. Our entire experimental plan, like we were going to do something around autonomous vehicles, all that was shut down because of COVID. And I had to almost overnight change my PhD topic. Now in Japan, the scholarship is only for 3 years, the JICA scholarship that we get. And the 6 months were gone. 2.5 years were left. And I had to change my PhD research area. So for that was a very extreme transition, like a very hard pivot. So I had to read like hundreds of papers on fields that I did not know about, learn new things. There was no generative AI or paper summarization or Q&A chatbots at the time. So the process was very manual. So that was one. I kind of faced this pain point where you have to go through massive, copious amounts of research literature in a very short amount of time, build new hypothesis, study design, create your experiments, and all that you have to do in a very short amount of time because you want to graduate in 2.5 years. The next major roadblock that I hit was in the peer review process. One of my papers was stuck in peer review for 11 months. So that was not a pleasant experience because you have done 3 rounds of manuscript revisions and experiments and all that. And even after that, reviewers do not have the time and the energy or the incentive to sort of get back to you on time. So that was extreme. Uh, my one of my teammates' PhD scholarship got cancelled because of peer review delays. Another person's literature survey took almost 18 months to do. So there were these experiences around me, especially during the pandemic, where people's PhDs, research progress was going very slowly. There was a lot of roadblocks. There were a lot of institutional challenges, systemic challenges that they were experiencing. And there was nothing for them, like no tools, no help, no systems. So once the AI wave hit, generative AI made it possible to build solutions, tackle these challenges. We started Veritas. Although we had a prototype before, it was not possible before this current uh, advancement in generative AI. That's how this whole thing came about. And this whole team, we are a team of researchers essentially, and we are engineers, designers, bio life science researchers, but at heart we are all researchers. And so we came together, bringing our challenges from industry, academia, our life experiences, come together and solve this problem for researchers everywhere.
That's really, really great, man. So, I mean, see, what happened is as a founder, whenever we solve any sort of problem, so like if you're a coder or a programmer, the very first thing crack in mind is that let's build a solution around it. Let's code the thing, basically. This is something that happening in every founder juggling mind, especially if you're in tech background. So, but the thing is, business is something that works whenever you have to first validate the idea, then try to build a solution. For example, in your case, you saw that, okay, so research task is very manually right now. It will take too much time to an individual researchers to publish their paper or get approval for it, so on and so forth. So that's your problem. Okay. But before the building phase, what your strategy for the idea validation phase? I mean, how you validate your idea of building this product kind of stuff. What's your approach for it?
Right. That's a great question, Ashish. And it is actually. So a bit of a background. So I also have some venture capital experience. I worked as a venture capital analyst intern at Plug and Play US, then as a global analyst intern at again Plug and Play US. So one thing I was fortunate enough to experience early on is that I got to speak to a lot of founders. And in the due diligence process, the first thing that we try to see is this like a real problem or is this just like something someone's passionate about? So the difference between a project and a business is that a project is fun and you can build it, but in a business, a project becomes a business when it's solving a real pain point for someone. That someone's willing to pay for it to solve that pain. And number three is that they have the purchasing power and the authority to make the buying decision. So when we went about building Veritas, the first thing we did was to see if whatever we are building, does it solve a real pain point? Like we know our problems, we're researchers, so we understand the pain points, that's fine. Right? But whatever we build, are other researchers experiencing the same pain as well? If yes, are they willing to pay for it? If they're willing to pay for it, do they have the cash? And if not, can their grants pay for it? Can their labs pay for it? So that's the approach that we took. So initially we started with a research assistant and we built a very solid one, does not hallucinate. It was the best in the market at that point. And we had very good early traction when we launched our first beta. We had like 500 plus users within the first week. We were growing pretty strong. And then Google released Notebook LM.
Sure.
And at that point, we have two options. Either we would like continue building that thing or we like rethink the whole product roadmap because like researchers have limited purchasing power, and they would move to they would move to the free option, of course, right? So we took a pause. We had that thing out and people were using it. That was fine. But what we did was we took a step back, and in the next 5 or 6 months, we built 5, 6 MVPs. So we did one startup a month for almost 6 months. And we did it at OIST Innovation Accelerator. So Japan has this international university called Okinawa Institute of Science and Technology. And we were selected for their grant and innovation accelerator program. And their campus has around 500 researchers, professors, a good mix of international people, very talented, very high quality research happens there. So we got this like amazing opportunity to be in the campus, talk to professors like lunch, dinner, breakfast, walking around. You get to meet customers, right? Because these are your customers. So we got to chit chat. We just do customer discovery interviews on the fly, whether over coffee or a beer or lunch, anything. Right. So we'd build something and then we would just share it within the community, like 15, 20, 30 people who are early adopters who want to try stuff. They would try it and they would give us feedback. Some things clicked, some things didn't click. It gave us better understanding that, okay, we understand something as a pain point, but perhaps this is not a good solution for that. This is not a good form factor for this, or this is not how everyone else is doing it. So we learned a lot about that thing with our startup a month approach. So maybe I spoke too much, but the best way to do is understand if you're solving a problem someone will be willing to pay for. That's key to building a business. And number two is talk to your customers as often and as frequently as possible.
Great. So if I sum up your answer, that is try to focus on problem first and the money second. They both are very, very important. Like if you're just building a product or nobody will purchase it, then does it make any sense for it? And definitely money is an important factor for it. One thing that I'm curious about, you talk about like you have built 6 MVPs. So what about that? I mean, is it a 6 MVP in a different field, or do you try to solve the same problem with six different approach? Like what about that story behind the 6 MVPs?
Right. So look, when you go to market, you want to go to market with a value proposition, right?
Yeah.
Like maybe not the best analogy here, but think of it as McDonald's. If you go to McDonald's, they serve fries, they serve burgers, shakes, drinks, chicken nuggets, a bunch of things, right? Wraps. Now, sure, you're trying to open a McDonald's, but what is the one thing that you want to make first that everyone will come, or at least 10 people will come and buy that? What is the one key thing that drives so much value that someone, it becomes like it's a bad decision for them not to try what you're doing? So those 7 MVPs were these 7 things that McDonald's makes. It's like together they're a great thing, a great ensemble of like a good product, a suite of products to have that we thought the researchers needed. But which one of them is the one that you go to market with? Because you can only ever do one thing at a time with focus, and you can execute only one thing at a time well. So we wanted to know of these 5 or 6 things that we made, what is the one thing that's sticky, that will get the customer to come back again, that will get them to take a subscription, and that we have very good understanding of and can execute with absolute focus.
Absolutely great. So yeah, I mean, it's the McDonald example that you gave. I totally relate with it and totally understand that the reason behind to building the 7 MVPs and all. What we saw that due to the evolution of tools like Lovable.ai, Cursor, it's like building an MVP is a very much easier game in nowadays. So what's your approach for building that MVP? Like have you used some AI tools, or you hire some coders, or you coded yourself to building that MVPs part? Or I mean, I saw that some MVPs like it's kind to be a waiting list part. where people go and share their email and you just share, information about your product. But some of MVPs are functional MVPs where all features are actually working. So, what kind of MVPs that was, and what kind of tools that you have used for building that MVPs? So, I'm curious to know about that.
Yeah. Okay. In So I think perhaps one mistake we made was that we did not use Lovable. Um, yeah, we did not use a lot of MVP making tools. Perhaps that so if we could have done an MVP a week, that would have been much faster, right? Okay. What we did was that so we had a small team at the time where we had two engineers. We are all engineers. We can all code. But I decided that I would focus on distribution, customer discovery, sales, and investment. And we had, you can assume, one UX designer, two engineers, people contributing voluntarily or working full time. That sort of a situation. And we built, we used GitHub Copilot and Cursor, and we built these MVPs with customer feedback. So we would start with, let's just say, our UX designer would make a basic prototype of Figma, right? We would take that. We'd first do a customer discovery interview, understand the pain point, go back out with a prototype, talk to five, six people, like, what do you think about this? And then we'll get them to sign up or say, okay, I'm really interested in trying this thing. Once we got some positive feedback around that, then we'll go back out. The team would make it, and then we'll ship that. So so all of them were functional MVPs. They were products that people could use and get value from. And right from the start, we don't ship crappy products. So we always ship products that look and feel good to use as well.
Absolutely. Yeah. And because due to the evolution of these tools, building an MVP will be easier. So due to that, what happened is your MVP should definitely contain some functionality. Only then your customer will be care about it. And that is something that you all guys are care about, which is really, really good. So let's talk about distribution first. I mean, the very important part of any sort of SaaS business. Like everybody is a coder, they could code the things, but very few people actually give it to the customer hand. That which is something that distribution came. So as you mentioned that you were someone who lead the distribution part for Veritus.ai. So what's your approach for distribution? I mean, how you contact those colleges and universities to using your platform? Like, are you doing cold mailing, offline networking? What exactly your framework for distribution of your product?
Right. So I think distribution is like it's complex. It's difficult. I think the hardest problem for an early stage startup is or someone making a project or an MVP. The hardest thing is to get 10 people interested in it.
Absolutely.
It's like you can get. It's hard to get your friends interested in it. And get them to sign up, get them to use it, and give you feedback and give you honest feedback. So, yeah, it's really brutal. Um, what we did was the first thing was we were within a campus where there were researchers and professors. So we would just knock on doors and meet people, say, hey, we have built this thing. This is what the prototype looks like. Take their feedback, send them like a link, invite link, like give it a spin and let us know what you think. So that helped because we were in a campus. LinkedIn is a great place. So once we launched our manuscript analysis beta, we were part of this amazing program in Japan called Alchemist, Jetro Alchemist B2B market discovery program. So we were selected for that. And what we did there was that we did a lot of cold outbound to professors in the US. And we had, like, I would say, an amazing conversion. from outbound to almost 10% people coming on for in for a trial or customer discovery meeting, and then another, like within that, half of the people ended up trying the product. So you're not selling at that point, but a lot of these people used our products extensively, gave us feedback. One of them later on joined as our advisor. So a lot of the good things happened that way. So distribution wise, we did cold outbound. We did within the network. We used the accelerators we were part of, and then we did university by university. For example, we did one campaign in IIT Roorkee, IIT Hyderabad, and we did it at OIST. We did it some 2, 3 labs. That's how it went about.
Which is good. I mean, yeah. So what I understand about distribution from you is that, of course, always cold approach work and try to sell in your network first, who is your actual customer, and the third is LinkedIn. So LinkedIn would be the best place. That's great. The next thing is,
I would just say one thing about this. So, ironically enough, there were not many customers within our network. Like it's very ironic. I don't know why, but like all our first degree connections are researchers. And of those, maybe we had like maybe I would have 500 plus maybe 1,000 researchers that I know personally. But of those, only like 5 to 10 people maybe purchase a subscription ever. So our conversion within the first degree networks was quite bad. But our conversion in second and third degree networks was phenomenal. So, like, I don't know why. Maybe people don't like me.
how much it was like how much number of people that in the second phase got conversion rate? What was that?
So we launched like 6 MVPs in all, and in each we had 100 plus, 200 plus users at any given point in time. Right now we have 500 plus users, 50 plus active subscribers with yearly subscriptions. So in some pilots we have another 200-300 plus people. So yeah, I would say we have like 1,000 plus monthly or daily active users coming in on the platform. We're not tracking the data so much just yet. So I will have more numbers for you in 2 to 3 weeks. But yeah, very few from my first degree networks.
Great. And I saw that University of Chicago, IITs, they all are using your platform. So how you approach universities of Chicago? Is it a cold approaching kind of thing, or they basically like start using your product?
It's both. So we reached out to labs and researchers in specific universities, and they liked the product. They tried it. They shared. Word of mouth also helps a lot. So when people like it, they share it with others, and that's how it gets around. That's quite useful.
So like yeah, word of mouth could be the best option. Definitely, definitely. The next thing is that I saw that you was experience in both study in India as well as Japan. So what kind of how can I say that? Yeah, you lived in India, you lived in Japan, so you understand the both places very very deeply. You understand that India have their own struggle, Japan have their own struggle, India have their own benefit, and Japan have their own benefit. So how living in both countries actually shape your mind and that you are using it to build your product?
In India, I would say India is a country of initiative.
Yes.
We take initiative quite a lot and without hesitation. And Japan is a country of execution and finishing. So if you can take initiative like Indians and then execute and follow through like the Japanese, you can build a great company.
Absolutely. That's the good point. Yeah, you're right. Indians have the mindset to start something, and Japanese are perfectionist kind of thing. Whenever they start any sort of work, they will have to complete it first, which is good. That's really
Yeah.
amazing. Understanding. Okay, next thing is that as we know that what happened is with the B2B or B2C based SaaS companies, they are into the AI field. They launched some feature, they launched some USP, and within 1 month, 1 week, we saw that the big giant, like the big sacks, so-called Google, GPTs, they exactly replicate those features, and overnight, those small SaaS tool get killed. So, as you are into the AI industry, so I definitely understand that you also have this sort of fear. So, how you prepared yourself to protect from this thing, like from the big giant step kind of stuff?
Right. Look, I would maybe it's a contrarian thinking on my part, but I don't think there's any threat. Like even if Google has launched Notebook LM, I don't think it's a threat to us at all in any way. There's one reason behind it. Uh, it's it's an enormous market. It's a huge market. Like all markets, most markets are pretty huge, right? And apart from a few monopolistic or winner takes all like verticals like search or social media platforms, long form and short form and content, like there's one major winner takes all platform in all those. Apart from these things, it hardly ever happens that if you build a SaaS product or any product, that a big competitor will come in and they would monopolize that space. It rarely happens. So if we build a research workflow application and then Google replicates it, uh, Google launches a feature on Scholar or something that's similar. I mean, fine, maybe one or two things people start using there, not on Veritas. But I don't really think that a product manager at Google with a team of 4 or 5 people who are working 9 to 5 can compete with a team that's working 996, maybe 80, 100 hours a week and is committed to building this product. Their life, their career depends on it. They're driven and obsessed. I don't think a team in a big company can compete with a startup on that, with that drive and that focus and that hunger. So you'll always find a niche where the customers will love you, where you'll deliver so much value that they would buy your product and not Google or Microsoft or anything else because you're giving them something that's specific, that's very tailored to their needs, and you get your wedge in and you get your foot in the door, and then you start expanding from there.
Great, I understand it. I saw that, like for the AI part, I mean, you automate the research workflow part. So you definitely use some sort of AI. So are you using Llama or what basically you use for the automate the things? Like you train your own data set or you use some sort of large language model, open source model? What it is? I mean,
Right. So what we have done is we have orchestrated multiple models depending upon the use case, the specific analysis that we're doing, because each step, some things need precision, something needs summarization, somewhere you have to synthesize information, somewhere you have to expound on something. So different models have different capabilities. So we use a bunch of different models. We also host our own models for specific use cases. So it's an ensemble approach to use large language models plus our data pre-processing pipeline to sort of have great scientific information going into any model, whether it's NLP or LLM in specific, and give out the information that's perfect for that specific use case. So that's how we go about it.
great. Next thing is that whenever we start any company, so we know that company is all about people, founding team. And it's very important that you have to choose your founding team like CEO very carefully. So what's your framework to choosing those kind of people? I mean, how you actually identify that, okay, these people have the capability to work with me as a CEO, as a CTO, or whatever. I mean, you definitely started this company, you have some co-founders, you have some consultant, you have some designer as well. So how you have chosen your core team member whenever you are in early stage?
And that's a good one. Again, so what happens is when you start something, it's like you're just dancing alone at a party, right? I once saw a YouTube video, and there was one guy dancing and no one else was, and then so there has to be one crazy dude who's doing that, and then there's a second guy or a third person who's like, okay, maybe I'll now there's like someone's doing it, seems fun, let me do it, and then two three people join, and then two three more people join, and then it becomes a party. So it's uh, it's complex. You meet people who are aligned on some things. Uh, the ideal thing is that there are people, you meet them who are aligned on your vision, who are aligned on your timeline, who have the same obsession as you, the same focus as you, who they have experienced or have the same understanding of the pain points that you're solving as you. And when all that alignment is there, then you have the perfect founding team. But quite often it'll happen that you would not meet those people right away, or you would never meet those people in some like situations that might happen as well. So what I have learned over the past 2 years is to find short-term alignments at least. So if you're going from A to Z and someone's going from A to B, but you align in that short span, work with them, get to some value, and then you can part ways, and then you can have someone else come in and take you from B to C, and then you move forward that way. Both approaches work.
Okay, so first try to find if A to Z kind of alignment, that is well and very, very good. But if that is not matchable, then try to find some A to B kind of alignment. Then somebody came like B to C. Yeah, that's really a good
Yeah,
framework. And that is something that many early stage founders lack. What happened is some founder
it's
actually,
incredibly hard.
absolutely.
It's incredibly hard to know anyone. Like it's hard enough to know yourself. Are you an A to Z person? Because it's so hard. There's so many things go wrong along the way that maybe somewhere at D or E you're like, I quit, right? So
Absolutely.
it's impossible to guess who is that person who's going to go the distance with you, endure the pain and suffering with you. And but luckily we have a team that is like that, that is that obsessed and that focused. But we've also had people who have come in, worked with us, and left, or like so that's fine. Like you have to have both sort of alignment, long and short term.
Yeah, that is something that interesting. I mean, what happened is we hired somebody to having a lot of trust with us. They work with you for some time, but due to some reason they will leave you. And for that time, that definitely hurts a lot. So, what's your advice for that founder? I mean, do they have to prepare for this situation previously, or what actually they have to do to like prevent us from that part?
Right, right. That's a good one. So, like a little bit of a personal experience here. So that's happened to us two, three times in critical situations. People would leave sometimes in a transparent manner, sometimes in a, I would say, not so transparent manner, and it hurts in the sense that it hurts the business, it hurts momentum because you look at an early stage startup like a boat, right? We are not a ship.
Yeah,
So if an aircraft carrier can allow hundreds of planes to fly off and it does not move an inch, right? But when someone jumps off a small boat, in the worst case scenario, the boat's like forward motion just stops for some time and you have to row again. But in the worst case, you go back, right? And sometimes the boat just capsizes. So depending upon how much weight that person has, there's always an adverse impact when the team is less than 10 of someone suddenly leaving, whether they have been transparent about it or not been transparent about it. I mean, the degree of hurt would depend on that. but there's always a lot of setback to the company. Your plans, your roadmap, everything like stands still. Now suddenly you're doing offboarding protocols and HR sessions and doing KTs, right? Instead of distribution and making a new feature, while there's another team somewhere who's still on their roadmap and making things. So yeah, it hurts, but it's like it's not pleasant. But I think my lesson for myself and other founders is suck it up and move on.
Got it, got it. Yeah, that's really good one. We have to prepare for it previously, and definitely it hurts. It's our human nature is that anything bad happen, it will definitely hurt, but we have to prepare for it previously. Great. So, what's your product vision? I mean, like within a 2 to 3 years, where do you think that Vertus AI will be goes up to that scale? I mean, what what's your vision behind it after 5 years, 10 years down the line? What do you think about this product?
Right. So if I can be very audacious and bold, um, our vision is to build an AI co-scientist. Uh, that's what we want to build. Now there are great companies like Leia AI and Sakana AI who are taking a top-down approach to it. They are building nature-inspired foundational models on language, vision, to solve hypothesis to validation, uh, that entire pipeline through those models. And they have raised hundreds of millions of dollars to do that. So that's what they're doing. What we are doing is taking a bottom-up approach. Can we optimize the workflow of a scientist today so that maybe 30 to 40% of their time gets unlocked for more innovation? Can we do that today? Can we accelerate science today? That's what we're doing right now. In the process, we gather data. In the process, we get a strong customer base who loves our products, who understands what we're doing, our vision, our philosophy. And in 3 to 5 years, when we have 1 million, 5 million, 10 million of these customers on board, we have enough data, we have enough context to build and spin up agents for them, not just vertical agents, but horizontal agents that act as their lab partners, their research assistants, who do not just the boring, like dull work for them, but also collaborate with them in doing great science. So that's the vision. That's where we are headed. We just try to go very bottom up. So I don't say that very often, but yeah, that's our vision.
The vision is something that inspire anybody else up to the next level. I mean, like this kind of animation definitely just I was just thinking about how it will gonna change the world if you guys could be able to build, and I wish you will be able to build this, the co-scientist. Just imagine the world where you have your AI pair scientist, and together you could research on medicine, you can research on AI, whatever it is. The world will looks like really, really great. So the our audience, after uploading this podcast, they will listening to you. They will get more inspired by your vision. But I wanted to know that what inspired you? Who is someone that inspired Manas Kala to thinking out of the box, this level of approach? So what kind of thing that actually inspired you to thinking this thing and building this level of product?
Right. But I don't know exactly what inspired me. I just always wanted to build stuff that's useful and have fun doing it. Find people who would share your vision, share it with people. When someone uses your product, it's like I don't think there's any better feeling than that when someone uses your product and they say wow 5 times than the first time that they use your product. It's quite amazing. So I don't know what exactly inspired or motivated me to go about this journey. But I would say that this is an incredibly difficult journey to undertake. You see, making is fun. You can make a product and a tool. You can spin up an MVP. That's fine. but making it into a product that's useful, adds value to people, selling it, um, and then the general chaos that is in a startup, that is incredibly hard. And so I do not know about inspiration, but I can tell you about preparation. So I come from a school called Rashtriya Indian Military College in Dehradun, not so far from where you are, perhaps. And so we were trained very early on in misery and endurance. So I think that makes me a good fit because I have high pain threshold and I can endure a lot. So yeah, so I'm just prepared for it. Inspiration perhaps came from within.
So actually, like what I understand is your work is something that inspired you a lot, and definitely that childhood conditioning to going to that schools, understand the importance of discipline, lived with military part. So which is really really great. I appreciate it. Next thing is that have you read books? I mean, do you like to reading books, kind of stuff?
Yes, I used to love reading books, but lately I'm just learning through podcasts and posts and things like that. Yeah.
What kind of podcast that you actually listening? Is it a founder focused podcast or something different? Kind of what it is? What kind of podcast?
Right. So one of my favorite podcasts, and it happens weekly, is called, I don't know if I can, it's called Unfuck My Startup.
Oh,
Uh, it's a good one. Yeah. It is mostly about B2B sales, but it covers a lot of other topics which are very timely for early stage founders, solo founders, and bootstrappers. So, a lot of advice on how to stay lean, how to build teams, how to be self sufficient, cash flow positive, a lot of strategy and approach on that. Uh, and I also like Rob Snyder's articles on his Substack and posts on LinkedIn. He writes a lot about early stage topics that you touched upon today: how to find the customers, how to validate your idea, how to sell, how to see if you're moving towards product market fit, things like that.
interesting. What was your one regret that you think that if I can't do that, then definitely the Waters AI will be up to the different level. So, like, what kind of that mistake that you've committed?
Yeah. So I think uh, we took too much time, and personally, I was very patient uh, with people. Uh, so there's this thing that you must be impatient with action, but patient with people. But I think in startups, you also have to have a threshold for patience. So, like in the TV show Silicon Valley, they say someone has ruinous empathy. So I think that's very bad in a startup. So in a big company, it's fine. Someone can take 6 months to realign and adjust and sort of find their footing. But in a startup, that has to happen in the same pace as everything else. Someone cannot take 6 months or 5 months to sort of adjust. Um, so you cannot have that sort of patience. It kills the momentum. It like upsets the whole dynamic. So going forward, I'm going to be, what was the other thing? Radical candor. Yeah, I'm
Interesting,
going to use that.
interesting. So, if any sort of people lived in India, UAE, Silicon Valley, Japan, doesn't matter in which country they lived in, but they are curious about starting their own startup. They are doing so much hard work behind it. So, what one advice that you wanted to give to that people?
Right. Look, we are very early stage. Uh, we have just crossed 3,000 MRR. So we are not in a position, or at least I'm not in a position to handing out advice of success just yet. But if I were to say something, it would be to just keep at it. Things get difficult, but you just move forward. There's always a move left. There's always um, some maneuver. There's always something you can do about things. I mean, sometimes there is nothing you can, but the most of the times you can do something about every problem.
Great, great. Thank you so much, Manas, to joining us for today's session. It would love to talk with you, and I'm really grateful that I just have the, destiny has chosen me to have taken a podcast with you. I learned so much about it, and
That's so heavy.
and I,
Ashish,
I
it was great talking to you, and the questions were great. And perhaps it's a long day. We wake up very early. It's been maybe 15 hours since I'm up, so the answers maybe were not so precise. And thank you for listening to me. And I hope I added value to you and your audience.
Absolutely, absolutely. Our audience will love this, and thank you so much for being our very first guest. I really wish that you guys could definitely meet the co-scientist, and definitely we would be your very first customer if you guys can make it. Best wishes for that.
Thank you, Ashish.
Thank you so
Look
much.
forward to meeting with you. Yeah. All
Absolutely.
right. Take care. Bye bye.
Bye
Yeah.
bye.
Bye.